Welcome to the shadows of history, where the glamorous and the grotesque collide. Tonight, we're stepping into the Dakota Building, a New York landmark that's more than just bricks and mortar. Is it a portal to a darker world where satanic cults, ritualistic murders, and secrets connect Hollywood's counterculture with the heart of royalty? This is the Dakota's dark secrets. Prepare yourself, for this narrative will deeply resonate with your innermost being. For this episode, we'll unravel a web of eerie connections, a dress that links a royal birth to a horror classic, a building haunted by ghosts and tragedy, and a countercultural movement that gave rise to one of the most notorious crimes of the 20th century. Segment 1. A building born from mystery. Before the legends, before the bodies, and long before the cameras rolled on Rosemary's Baby, there was the architecture. Completed in 1884, the Dakota wasn't just a marvel of its time, it was an enigma. Designed by Henry Janeway Hardenberg, who would later design the Plaza Hotel, the building was named the Dakota because it stood so far north of the city's established heart. People joked it might as well be in the Dakotas. But some say the name had deeper resonance. A frontier outpost, yes, but also a place beyond reach, beyond control. A liminal space. Its Gothic features were not merely decorative. The spiked gables, wrought iron balconies, and gas-lit passageways evoke not just opulence, but European esotericism. Look closely, and you'll find subtle nods to alchemical symbolism, salamanders in flames, a phoenix-like motif near the courtyard, and patterns echoing the tree of life from Kabbalistic lore. This was a fortress of wealth, yes, but also a container of secrets. Hardenberg, it's said, was fascinated with spiritualism, which was flourishing in the US during the building's construction. Seances, ghost photography, and communication with the dead weren't fringe, they were fashionable. Segment 2. The dress that shook the world. Let us begin where the veil was lifted once more, a poignant reminder of unresolved enigmas, in 2018, with a royal birth that was far from simple. In April 2018, Duchess Kate, wife of Prince William, stepped out of St. Mary's Hospital in London, cradling her newborn son, Prince Louis. The world cooed at the royal moment, but something caught the eye of keen observers. Her dress, red with a delicate lace collar, was eerily familiar. It mirrored a dress worn by Mia Farrow in Rosemary's Baby, a 1968 film about a woman chosen to bear the devil's child. Coincidence or something more sinister? I stumbled across this comparison on a celebrity gossip site. At first I thought it was clickbait, but the images don't lie. The resemblance is uncanny. Some dismissed it as a nod to 60s fashion, but when you peel back the layers, this dress opens a door to a chilling narrative. To understand why, we need to step into the Dakota Building, where Rosemary's Baby was filmed, and where the line between fiction and reality blurs. Segment 3, Rosemary's Baby and the Dakota's Curse. Directed by Roman Polanski, Rosemary's Baby is a horror classic. Mia Farrow plays Rosemary Woodhouse, a young wife who moves into the Dakota, called the Bramford in the film, with her husband, Guy. They're thrilled by the grand apartment, but soon, Rosemary senses something's off. Her neighbors, the Castevets, are overly friendly, and strange events pile up. Without spoiling too much, she discovers she's been chosen by a satanic cult to carry the devil's child, a moonchild, a concept rooted in occult traditions like Aleister Crowley's teachings. The film's themes of manipulation, betrayal, and hidden power structures struck a nerve. But what's creepier is how the Dakota itself seemed to embrace its role. While most interiors were shot in Hollywood, the building's exterior and courtyard were real. And after the film's release, tragedies seemed to follow those involved. Producer William Castle suffered severe kidney stones and hallucinations. Composer Krzysztof Komeda fell into a coma and died. And Polanski's wife Sharon Tate was brutally murdered in 1969 by the Manson family. Was this a curse tied to the Dakota, or just grim coincidence? The Dakota's own history fuels the curse theory. In 1980, John Lennon, a resident since 1973, was shot dead outside its entrance by Mark David Chapman. Lennon had seen a crying lady ghost in the halls, and after his death, Yoko Ono claimed his spirit lingered, playing their piano. Other residents report seeing a young girl in 19th century clothing, or a figure with a man's body and a boy's face. The unease is further compounded when a poltergeist haunts the building's basement, which some claim is Edward Clark, the original owner of the Dakota's building. Is the Dakota a magnet for dark forces, or does its gothic grandeur just amplify our fears? Segment 4. Hollywood's dark underbelly and the Manson connection. To understand the Dakota's place in this story, we need to cross the country to 1960s Hollywood, specifically Laurel Canyon, a bohemian enclave where rock stars, actors, and drifters collided. This was the era of free love, psychedelia, and rebellion, but beneath the surface, something darker brewed. Enter Charles Manson, a charismatic ex-con who dreamed of music stardom. He and his family roamed Laurel Canyon, rubbing shoulders with the elite at drug-fueled parties. One of Manson's followers, Bobby Beausoleil, was a musician and muse to Kenneth Anger, an occultist filmmaker whose works like Lucifer Rising dripped with satanic imagery. Beausoleil's arrest for a 1969 murder marked the beginning of the Manson family's unraveling. But it was the August 1969 murders at Cielo Drive that shocked the world. Sharon Tate, 8 months pregnant with Roman Polanski's child, and 4 others were killed in a ritualistic slaughter. The house, just miles from Laurel Canyon, had once hosted parties attended by John Lennon, who took LSD there in the mid-60s. Manson claimed the Beatles' White Album, especially the chaotic Revolution 9, inspired his crimes through hidden messages. He saw himself as a prophet of chaos, orchestrating a race war he called Helter Skelter. But was Manson a lone madman or a pawn in a larger game? Some theorize he was a scapegoat, tied to Hollywood's elite through figures like Terry Melcher, a producer who rejected Manson's music. The victims, including Jay Sebring, who styled Jim Morrison's hair, were part of this tight-knit scene. The murders on August 9, 1969, were like an extremely violent, bloody ritual, reminiscent of the darkest occult sacrificial fantasies. Polanski, devastated by Tate's death, was already a controversial figure. By the late 1970s, he fled the US after charges of raping Samantha Gailey, a 13-year-old, a scandal that exposed Hollywood's culture of power abuse. The Cielo Drive house, like the Dakota, became a symbol of glamour tainted by tragedy. And the connections don't stop there. Lennon, who lived at the Dakota, had ties to both Cielo Drive and the Beatles, whose music Manson twisted. It's as if these places were nodes in a dark network. Segment 5. Ghosts, Portals, and the Unseen Tenants. The Dakota has been home to the rich and famous, but it's the unseen residents who never seem to leave. John Lennon saw a ghostly, crying lady dressed in turn-of-the-century garb. Others report a little girl in a white dress who vanishes when approached. But perhaps the most chilling is the tale of the spectral mechanic, a man in oil-stained overalls seen repairing non-existent pipes in the basement. Former resident Lauren Bacall, the silver screen legend, reportedly refused to use certain elevators after dusk. She claimed to hear whispering voices, and once, the scent of burning incense filled her penthouse, though no source was ever found. One security guard in the 1980s quit after witnessing what he called a corridor that stretched into darkness and didn't end where the building should. Was it sleep deprivation or a portal? Segment 6. The Templar Legacy and the Architects of Power. Let's take a detour into older history. Some architectural historians argue the Dakota was part of a lineage of power buildings, structures designed with sacred geometry to harness or contain spiritual energy. Much like Rosslyn Chapel or Chartres Cathedral, the Dakota's floor plan aligns suspiciously well with Hermetic principles. Could it have been built over a ley line? a spiritual artery believed by mystics to connect places of energy. Interestingly, several murder sites, mysterious suicides, and elite private clubs are located on the same latitude. Some theories suggest Edward Cabot Clarke, who commissioned the building, had ties to Freemasonry. In his personal letters, which remain partially unpublished, there are references to a sanctum sanctorum and the stone that must not be disturbed. What was he hiding beneath the Dakota's foundation? Segment 7. The Occult and Power Structures. Let's zoom out further. The dress that Kate wore in 2018 wasn't just a fashion choice. It was a signal, a thread in a tapestry of occult symbolism. In Rosemary's Baby, the red dress marked Rosemary's innocence before her descent into darkness. Red, in occult traditions, symbolizes blood, sacrifice, and rebirth. The transcript I found suggests that royal births, like Prince Louis's, are ritualistic moments, echoing ancient traditions where lineage and power were sanctified.
Is it far-fetched to think the elite use symbols like dresses to communicate hidden meanings? Princess Diana often wore red and white, colors tied to fertility and sacrifice in occult lore.
Her death, like Tate's and Lennon's, raised suspicions about elite networks. These networks, the transcript argues, span Hollywood, London, and beyond, connecting figures like Jimmy Savile, whose horrific crimes exposed the BBC's complicity, to the Manson family and Polanski's scandals. The Dakota, with its history of rejecting stars like Madonna and Cher, is a gatekeeper of this world, a fortress for the powerful. And then there's John Lennon's murder. Mark David Chapman, clutching the catcher in the rye, shot Lennon in 1980 outside the Dakota. Some claim he was a programmed killer linked to MKUltra, a CIA mind control program. The Dakota's role as a site of tragedy, Lennon's death, Judy Garland's overdose, and the Rosemary's Baby curse, suggests it's more than a building. It's a stage for rituals, whether paranormal or orchestrated by human hands. Segment 8. The Pattern of Blood. Let's return to the idea of a curse. A curse isn't always a spell. It can be a pattern, a psychological loop. But the Dakota's pattern is unnerving. A movie about satanic birth filmed there, followed by the ritualistic murder of its director's wife. A world-famous musician assassinated at its gates. Ghost sightings from every decade. Poltergeist activity, sudden illnesses. Even Judy Garland, who once stayed there, was hospitalized shortly after her visit. If we believe buildings can absorb energy, trauma, emotion, ritual, then what does the Dakota house? And who or what benefits from the negative energy generated? Segment 9. The Web of Connections and Closing Thoughts. So what does all this point to? The Dakota Building, Rosemary's Baby, the Manson murders, and a royal dress form a web of eerie connections. Are we seeing patterns where none exist, or is there a hidden truth beneath the surface? The transcript I found insists it's not coincidence. It's a glimpse into a world where power, occultism, and tragedy intertwine. Maybe the Dakota is a magnet for dark energy. The Dakota Building keeps its silence, but its shadows remember. It echoes with a wail that began in the 19th century and reverberates through the 20th into our world today. Is it cursed? Or merely haunted by the truth? What if we told you the buildings of the elite are not just places to live, but altars? What if the Dakota isn't just the setting for darkness, but a place steeped in it, its very walls holding the weight of tragedy? I don't have all the answers, but I know this. The truth is out there, hidden in plain sight. Keep your eyes open, because the world is stranger than we think. If you felt a chill watching this, hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Have you seen the crying lady ghost, or noticed other strange symbols in plain sight? Let's keep unraveling the mystery together. Until next time, stay curious and stay vigilant.